Kepler's laws. Kepler introduced 3 laws for the planetary motion. Kepler's first law, called law of orbits. Second law also called law of areas. Kepler's third law, also called law of periods. 3 laws of Kepler. The first law is called law of orbits. Second law called law of areas. Third law called law of periods. These 3 laws plays an important role in the study of planetary motion. Now, Kepler's first law. Kepler's first law states that every planet move around the sun in elliptical orbit, such that sun is situated at one of the foci. Sun is situated at one of the foci of ellipse, and every planet, including Earth, moves around the sun in elliptical orbit. In general, ellipse has 2 focus points. The sun is situated at one of the foci. This is the focus F1. The second foci point locates here, that is F2. Now, at one of the foci, sun is situated and Earth is moves around the sun in elliptical orbit. Not only Earth, every planet move around the sun in elliptical orbit. What Kepler's first law states? Kepler's first law is also called law of orbits, which states that each and every planet move around the sun in an elliptical orbit with sun at one of the foci. Sun is situated at one of the foci. Here, Earth is moving around the sun in elliptical orbit. Earth moves around the sun in elliptical orbit. Every planet move around the sun in an elliptical orbit with the sun at one of the foci. This is the Kepler's first law. Why we call this law as law of orbits? Because this law gives the information about the orbit in which the planet is moving around the sun. Every planet moves in the elliptical orbit, means the path in which the planet is moves around the sun. About that path, this law explains. So, about the orbit in which the planet is moving around the sun. So, about that orbit, the first law explains. That's why this law is called law of orbits. Finally, what is first law? Each and every planet move around the sun in an elliptical orbit with the sun at one of the foci. Some MCQs. First one, the first law of Kepler's, also called as law of orbit, law of period, law of area, law of gravity. The Kepler's first law gives the information about the orbit in which the planet is moving around the sun. That's why the first law is called law of orbit. The option is first one. A is the option. Law of orbit. Second MCQ. Every planet revolves around the sun in an elliptical orbit with the sun at one of its foci is stated as law of period, law of orbit, law of area, law of gravitation. What this statement states, every planet revolves around the sun in an elliptical orbit with sun at one of the foci. This is the Kepler's first law. But here in the options, Kepler's first law is not mentioned. But we know that Kepler's first law is also called as law of orbit. law of orbit. Why? Because about the orbit in which the planets are revolving around the sun. About that orbit, the first law explains. Means here the correct option for this question is B, that is law of orbit.